Godzilla storms into theaters, and we're right on his tail.
We'll review the King of the Monsters' latest starring role.
Plus, Pretender star Andrea Parker, the stuntman who became Nightman, and Godzilla's greatest hits. I'm Chase Masterson.
And I'm Scott Nance.
Sci-Fi Entertainment is the Sci-Fi Channel's weekly source of what's happening in the worlds of science fiction, fantasy, and horror.
You know, believe it or not, there are a lot of other things going on in sci-fi this week besides a certain giant lizard. So before we get into Gojira, let's get the latest buzz from the Sci-Fi Wire.
Cool, man.
Bart Simpson goes sci-fi? Not exactly, but Matt Groening, who created The Simpsons, is developing a new animated sci-fi series called Futurama. Of course, it'll still be a comedy, but Futurama will take place in the year 3000. Should be interesting.
What's going on?
Robert Patrick, best known as the evil T-1000 in Terminator 2, and Elijah Wood of Deep Impact have joined the cast of an untitled sci-fi alien film. But even more interesting is who's behind the cameras. From Dusk Till Dawn director Robert Rodriguez is calling the shots, and screenwriter Kevin Williamson wrote the screenplay. The plot's still a secret, but we do know that the distributor, Dimension Films, is planning its biggest advertising campaign ever for the film. Just like the Scream movies, it will open on Christmas Day.
Hello?
You can stay connected to the Sci-Fi Wire by surfing over to the Sci-Fi Channel's Dominion website. It's at www.scifi.com.
Well, it's Memorial Day weekend and the summer is officially here. I know most of you want to catch Godzilla at the theaters, but are those long lines worth the wait? We sent 3 sci-fi lovers to the head of the ticket line in return for their candid reactions. Meet Sean Sheridan, a Godzilla collector and enthusiast, John Platt, screenwriter and Dominion movie reviewer, and Laurie Begal, sci-fi fan and avid convention goer.
The lizard's movements were wonderful, and they reminded me kind of the Jurassic Park raptors.
Maybe we've all just become very used to these kind of effects, but it just evoked Jurassic Park and Lost World for me.
There are a couple of very interesting special effects. There are a couple of scenes where Godzilla's tail kind of, you know, whips around and takes out sides of buildings.
You have this incredible crisis going on that is destroying your city, and the first thing that you say when you see this guy is like, wow, hi, how are you doing? I haven't seen you for 8 years. What's up? Come back to my place for a cup of tea. Come on.
How close did you get to the thing?
I got pretty close.
They've just been attacked by this monster. No one's really concerned about it at all. No one's in fear of their life except when the monster's directly in their face.
Kind of chicken leg running fast approach of Godzilla, I don't think evoked the kind of force of nature, powerful feel of Godzilla than in the Toho films. In the other movies, Godzilla is much more a force of nature. Godzilla always reminded man that man was not master of the earth. There are much more powerful creatures and much more powerful forces in the universe that can kind of humble man. Whereas in the TriStar film, I think Godzilla comes across just as a frightened animal, really. It's kind of like a big animal who's escaped from a zoo.
I think size does matter. I think Godzilla should have been much, much larger.
It wouldn't matter if they knew what they were doing with it.
Size doesn't matter so much as interesting characters. I think I would recommend Godzilla to people who liked Jurassic Park and Lost World. I think most hardcore Godzilla fans will be disappointed because TriStar took the Godzilla concept and did it in their own way.
I think if I was 12 years old, I might really enjoy this film.
I would really recommend for people to go out and see it on their own and form their own opinion, but I would recommend the matinee price.
Coming up, meet one of the world's biggest Spider-Man collectors and meet some veteran Godzilla fans.
In Japan, Godzilla is called Gojira. The word is a combination of gorilla and kujira, which is the Japanese word for whale. Godzilla will no doubt win over a lot of new admirers with the movie that just opened. But longtime Godzilla fans are also celebrating this weekend in Chicago, the site of this year's first G-Con. This was the scene at last year's G-Con, as about 1,000 devoted American fans paid homage to the legendary lizard in New York City.
I'm loving the convention. It's a beautiful thing. Big fan, number one. 4 hours of pain here. Number one, Godzilla rules, man.
The first film made its American debut back in 1956. Since then, Godzilla has become an enduring icon for several generations of fans, many of whom were there for G-Con 97.
When I was young, everything I did had Godzilla in it. Like, we had to draw Christmas cards in school, I would draw Godzilla on it.
The dealer room was jammed with fans willing to drop loads of lizard green loot for prized memorabilia.
I'm a huge Godzilla fan. It's like a big collector and everything Godzilla. I bought $20,000 and more worth of merchandise.
Convention organizer John Roberto.
Well, the main point of the convention is to bring fans together who like Japanese science fiction and give them a chance to meet. And of course, our special guests from Japan, the two men who played Godzilla, which is the main draw for this type of convention.
Let's have a nice New York welcome to the men who played Godzilla.
G-Con's special guests were none other than Haruo Nakajima and Kenpachiro Setsuma, the actual guys who slithered into the often cumbersome Godzilla costume.
My name is Kenpachiro Setsuma.
The current Godzilla suit, the one for Godzilla vs. Destroyer, weighed 286 pounds. About 5 people helped me put on the suit. They are called Godzilla Gakari, the people in charge of Godzilla.
Hello, everybody.
Mr. Nakajima is the original man in the Godzilla suit, having played the role in the first 12 films.
We had to work hard in each scene. We would read the script and then, along with the director, decide how best to choreograph each scene. We couldn't afford to goof off.
Transforming oneself from ordinary human to giant monster is no easy feat.
The first thing is how to become Godzilla completely. I convince myself that I'm Godzilla. I'm Godzilla. Then I become Godzilla and get inside the suit. Otherwise, I could not do it. I just tell myself, I'm Godzilla. Then I get inside. This way I can play him quite well.
The original Godzilla met his maker in the last Japanese film, Godzilla vs. Destroyer. But now that Hollywood has created a new computerized version of the beloved behemoth, a whole new generation is about to become addicted to the lizard.
I saw Godzilla 1954, which is actually 56 with Raymond Burr. I've seen that movie about 5,000 times since I was 6 years old. So it's like, you know, this has been an influence in my life since I was a child, and I can't shake it.
G-Con 98 is going on this weekend at the Radisson Hotel near Chicago O'Hare Airport. It's not too late to go.
Well, you know, Godzilla wasn't really my thing. But Spider-Man was, especially when I was a kid, and I thought I had a big collection. But the woman we're about to meet has a great collection.
Well, she started collecting in the 7th grade, but now her Spider-Man collection may top everyone in the world.
I first started collecting Spider-Man merchandise when I was in 7th grade. A girlfriend and I went to a thrifty drugstore and saw some glasses there, eyeglasses, and we thought they'd be really funny to walk around in at school, and put them on, and that was it. I prefer the older package design to the newer stuff they come out with. The newer stuff, they changed the logo, they changed how he dresses, how he looks, what the villains look like, which to me is not as fun and vibrant as exciting as it used to be. Hello, Meltdown Comics and Collectibles. Oh, wait, just one moment. It's for you. My initial interest in Spider-Man was just the playfulness of it, but I think now, looking back in retrospect, was that I was really attracted to the design of the character and to the packaging. And eventually I went on to graphic design and advertising as my chosen field. Some of the more unusual pieces that I've obtained over the years are things that you would never think would be marketed or merchandised with Spider-Man on it, and some of those are a fishing pole they came out with recently, which I think is very strange to fish with Spider-Man, a set of walkie-talkies, and some other very unusual accessories that I don't think the normal young boy who's a Spider-Man fan would be seen running around with, such as earrings and cufflinks. I also have toilet paper that someone gave me for Christmas one year that has comic strip on it.
These are $14.95. These were $29.95 when we have them, and we're still waiting for a restock. They're sold out.
I met my husband Gaston while going around to different comic book stores looking for Spider-Man toys. I was lucky enough to go into one store that had a manager working there that enjoyed the same types of things, and we started talking about collecting and about toys, and he asked me out, and 3 months later we opened up our own toy and comic book store called Meltdown Comics and Collectibles in Los Angeles, California, where we now both work together and have a good time going and buying toys and selling toys. And I think it's really interesting how a hobby can turn into a vocation, which I think I'm very lucky to be able to do something like that. I owe it all to, Spider-Man and Marvel Comics, I guess, is responsible.
Coming up, Pretender star Andrea Parker, plus the actor who plays TV's newest superhero.
Who would you like to see Godzilla fight in a sequel? Cast your vote at www.scifi.com/entertainment. Sci-Fi Entertainment viewers can help us interview the X-Files' Chris Carter next month. Email your questions for Chris to sfe@scifi.com and help us get the truth about the X-Files from the one person who knows. Have you seen NBC's Pretender on Saturday nights? Well, it's a pretty unique show. The show's talented co-star, Andrea Parker, has the unenviable role of never getting her man.
She is incredibly dysfunctional and in a lot of pain. Wake up and smell the oxygen. She's fastidious in her personal, physical appearance. You wheeze. Oh, she shoots guns and smokes cigarettes and drives like a bat out of hell. She is as condescending and violent as any woman I've ever known. Yes. She's a piece of work.
Each week on The Pretender, Andrea Parker plays one of TV's toughest characters, a woman hell-bent on capturing a runaway genius and exploiting his intelligence for her own benefit.
It's bad enough that we have missed Jared with all the close calls that we've had, but we're not even showing up in the right cities anymore.
Well, we'll get back on track, Miss Parker. We're just in a slump.
This is the center, Brutes. We don't have slumps. I think people are more likely to be fascinated and intrigued by it because it is so different and unexpected for her to act the way that she does. We all live a little vicariously through her, I think. That's a compliment, really, when someone assumes that I am that not nice. It's a very attractive look on Miss Parker, yes.
From what I can tell, the real Miss Parker is nothing like the Miss Parker on TV. So where does Andrea conjure up those ill-tempered emotions for her character?
When I'm driving, I get really aggressive and impatient, and that's very much of who she is. So I take those moments and try and understand what they're all about.
For years, Andrea made a living as a professional dancer. She told me dancing has helped her prepare for many of the show's action sequences. But if you watch The Pretender like I do, you gotta figure she's received a few bumps and bruises along the way.
A lot of Epsom salt baths to get over the sore muscles and, you know, things like that. I broke a finger a few episodes ago, hurling a chair through a wall, and the stunt didn't go as planned, and my finger got in the way. Just, you know, the basic aches and pains of wearing stilettos and sprinting on asphalt.
My arm?
You're bleeding pretty badly, Miss
It's
Parker.
nothing.
Andrea enjoys both the physical and emotional challenges of working on the show. And if her character does catch up with the Pretender, she's hoping for a rather unusual plot development.
I would rather spend a season, I think, toying with the idea of getting together as lovers, so to speak, and then I would like to find out that we're siblings. It's just nice and twisted and very much in the vein of what we've been doing here.
There's been a sea of superheroes on TV recently. With the exception of Hercules and Xena, most haven't lasted very long. But one newcomer is demonstrating amazing staying power.
I like Superman a lot, yeah. I get to put on a rubber suit and go to work, yeah.
What's the matter? Burn me. Man, what burned you?
I did.
Before donning the Nightman costume, Matt was one of Hollywood's top stuntmen. Doubling for the likes of Schwarzenegger, Eastwood, and Seagal, he constantly put his life on the line.
You know, you go to work and you'd be, am I gonna come home today? You know what I mean? So it was, and then it got easier. You know, some days were great. Some days were like, okay, you gotta hang off this helicopter, you know, down on the LA River, you know. What? Me? Why me? Why can't he do it?
Since childhood, Matt has had an adventurous spirit.
I started doing martial arts as a young kid, and I raced motorcycles and that sort of thing. But I wasn't really, you know, I was always real level-headed about what I did. And that's what makes a good stuntman. You know, you don't want crazy guys, because those usually are the, you know, the Robbie Knievels, the guys that are just, you know, they're daredevils.
Nightman's alter ego is Johnny Domino, the hottest saxophone player on the West Coast. Matt confesses playing the sax is one stunt he can't pull off.
I play good air sax. I had a couple lessons, and the guys said, well, you know, it's going to take you a while to really learn how to play this thing. Let me just show you how to really fake it.
Brittany, I want Brittany to jump rope.
All right.
But keep it going, keep it going.
Matt, who has a wife and 3 children, became a full-time actor after several close friends were killed performing stunts.
It's a tough transition. I committed myself because I lost a couple friends, and I just said, I can't do this anymore. And that's the only thing I knew is the film business, so, and I didn't know if I liked acting, and I started taking acting classes, and I loved it.
Playing Nightman, Matt once again finds himself doing stunts. And as it turns out, not everything this superhero does is quite so super.
When you're starting a new series, you know, everything goes wrong, you know? You know, the suit doesn't fit right, or the eye doesn't work, or you're supposed to hit a mark and, you know, and like run into a shot and you slip and fall, and, you know, or you go over a railing wrong, or, you know, it happens a lot.
Yes, playing a superhero is never easy, but Matt McComb seems to be suited for the role. Be sure to log on to the Dominion and check out these cyber events. Enter the Dominion at www.scifi.com.
I'm Scott Nance.
And I'm Chase Masterson.
Join us for a brand new weekly series that'll take your concept of science fiction
And turn it upside down.
Sci-Fi Entertainment, only on the Sci-Fi Channel. Next Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
She intends to change the future.
Linda Hamilton, the theatrical widescreen edition of James Cameron's Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Saturday, June 6 at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Get the lowdown on the biggest lizard film in history. Grab the July issue of Sci-Fi Entertainment magazine at newsstands now, or call 1-800-77-SCI-FI.
You know, it's hard to believe, Scott, but some people are actually getting their first taste of Godzilla from the new movie.
Well, see, that's weird. I mean, I remember watching Godzilla movies every weekend when I was a kid.
I know, me too. I was terrified.
Well, did you know there's a guy at the Sci-Fi Channel that's seen every Godzilla film ever made?
Right. You're talking about the creature from the programming department.
That's right. You can chat with him online at the Dominion, and soon we'll have an exclusive on-camera interview with the creature.
Hey, I'm there. That will be coming up on one of our future shows. Meanwhile, let's tell our younger viewers about the best of the old classic monsters with this week's Godzilla Video Best Bets.
For purists, there's no better place to get started than Godzilla, King of the Monsters, the 1954 original, just released on video and DVD by Scimitar Entertainment. Anchor Bay Entertainment's just released a video 5-pack with some of the coolest and weirdest Godzilla movies. Godzilla 1985 is a virtual remake of the 1954 film.
Sayonara, sucker.
And it includes the hysterical animated short, Bambi Meets Godzilla. If you'd rather cheer for Godzilla, watch him try to save the world from his evil robotic twin in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. And in Son of Godzilla, you'll meet the crown prince of the monsters, a funny little lizard who can barely manage to blow smoke rings, let alone radioactive fire.
If you want lots of monsters in a single dose, you've got to get Destroy All Monsters from ADV Films. It's my all-time favorite monster flick because it's got Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra all defending the Earth from the three-headed space dragon Ghidorah. And this is the first time Destroy All Monsters is available on video in the U.S. Officially, anyway.
You know, Chase, for those who can't get enough Godzilla, the Sci-Fi Channel is going to be filling the need.
Oh, right. You can find Sci-Fi Channel's Stompfest 98, Godzilla movies every night, May 26th through 29th at 9 o'clock Eastern. We'll be back next week with more sci-fi entertainment right here on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Three, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Commit. Liftoff.
A mission to fulfill the dreams of mankind remembered. See America's Moon, The Men of Apollo, an Inside Space special, today at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Now, stay tuned for amazing stories.